Okay, welcome everyone to our webinar and an ongoing series this fall we're having. And today I'm excited to have on Judi Baker, who is one of our long-term clients, a service manager with Seidel Systems near Seattle, Washington. Welcome, Judi. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here with you today, Wim.
Yep, this is huge. Again, I've seen the slide deck, so I know what's coming up, and it's huge. Just everyone will get an insight into a day in the life of an agile service manager. So what Judy's going to share, how her team works, the culture, and the things they got going on, as well as screenshots of her board of what she looks at. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Judi to introduce herself and her team and the size, that sort of thing, and go through her presentation. And I guess
Great.
I'll say, yeah, if you got questions, obviously put them in the chat, the Q&A, and we'll see where we fit those in. So we want to make this as engaging as we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Wim. I appreciate you inviting me. And really, honestly, just a big shout out to TopLeft because it is a game changer. And all of us at Seidel Systems, specifically my team at Service Desk, we love using TopLeft. And so I'm super excited to share with you about how we do things. So why TopLeft? Well, I got to be honest with you, before we get into the whole nitty gritty of why we chose TopLeft, we need to take it back to October 2019. We were crazy busy. We had 90 tickets. Well, we had 90 plus tickets old. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you, we had tickets that were probably 6 months or a year old. Super embarrassing. We were busy. I knew as a manager that we were getting work done, but if I'm being completely honest with you, things were falling through the cracks. We were not communicating effectively. We had bottlenecks. We honestly were literally flailing. This was us. And I'm sure all of you before TopLeft can relate. So why did we choose TopLeft? Well, because things were so crazy for us. Our project service manager, he had heard about this book called The Phoenix Project. And so he was telling me about it one day. I was actually up in Ferndale, Washington, which is about a 3-hour drive to my home. And he says to me before I got in my car, he says, you should listen to this. Download it on Audible, listen to it in your car. And for 3 hours, I listened to the book on TopLeft about on Phoenix Project. And I was just surprised at how engaging the book was. Seems a little crazy that it was engaging, but it was. And so because I'd listened to this, he also did this Google search. And as we all know, Google is our favorite friend. And he wanted to come up with he was looking for something that overlaid with ConnectWise. And he was looking for a Kanban board. And he came across TopLeft. We started engaging in conversations, demos 5 years ago, was right around this time. And that is how we sort of got into why we wanted to use TopLeft. And before we could even start using TopLeft, we knew that we needed to get our statuses in order. So right out of the box with ConnectWise, there are dozens of statuses to use. And so what we wanted to do is that we needed to simplify them, make it super simple. And so what we did was we went through and we came up with what our statuses were going to be for all of our boards. And so we came up with, we obviously have to have new, we had waiting on contact, waiting on other, scheduled, ready to work, in progress, resolved, and closed. Those were the only statuses that we started to use. As part of our kind of kicking off using TopLeft, we did daily huddles. Now, it was really very helpful for us because when we started using TopLeft and started doing the daily huddles, it was during COVID. So we switched over to TopLeft, started using TopLeft in about February of 2020. And we then went home, started working from home in March of 2020, and we used our daily huddles to really implement and kick off how we wanted to use TopLeft. And we've been using it for now about 4 years. And then in the beginning of January of 2024, we decided to do what we call the reimagining of service desk. And so what that looked like is that everybody on my team read the book, The Phoenix Project. And during that time, as each of us were all spread out, and we each had a different 5 chapters that we had to talk about. And so we had a reading plan, little agenda that they had, and once a week, 2 people led the discussion for 5 of the chapters. And once we finished reading the book, then we decided how we wanted to reimagine, how we wanted to reassess how we were doing things at Service Desk. So on our team, we have a dispatcher, we have scheduled technicians, available technicians, escalation team, the service desk lead, and a service desk manager. So within our company, there were 33 employees. Service desk has 13. Of those 13 employees, 8 of them are technicians, 2 of them are escalation engineers. We have 1 dispatcher, the lead, and then myself as the manager. So each day of the week, we have what we call we have 2 technicians that are considered the scheduled technicians. So we're going to go over that here. We also have our dispatcher, who is what we call our ringmaster. He is the one that's kind of in control of everything that's going on. He's paying attention to our SLAs. He's scheduling resources for appointments with our clients. He's also scheduling resources for on-site support, and then also does other administrative tasks. So our Kanban board, as we kind of talk about here, is our first column. We have what's called our backlog. It's all of our new tickets that are coming in. We have blocked, and then we have scheduled, we have ready to work, we have active, and we have resolved. So prior to January, our board actually looked much different. And part of our reimagining is that we were trying to think about, okay, let's really think about going from left to right. And what did that look like for us? And so for us, it felt like, okay, so we have new, that made sense. That would go in obviously the far left. And then our next thought was blocked. And then in our next column, we did scheduled and then ready to work. I'm going to explain why we came up with that concept, because for us, that's what made sense. So if we were to look at what our process is for non-urgent tickets, so what that means is that we have a ticket that comes in, and we determine based on looking at the ticket, our ringmaster, he's looking at the ticket and he is deciding, should this ticket be scheduled for a scheduled technician to work with the client at a future time? Or can we go ahead and just move that ticket into what we consider our ready to work column? So if it is available and we can just move it right into our ready to work, he's just going to go ahead and he's going to move that ticket straight to ready to work. If it's for scheduled, here's what he's going to do. Each day it's a different technician that is considered scheduled. Okay. So he's going to look at him. Today's Tuesday, and he's going to look at Tuesday, and he's going to say, okay, Patrick and Jesse are available to do scheduled. And so he's going to look at their availability. He's going to look at the ticket, and he's going to ask the client, are you available today at 10 or 2? And he's going to offer this to the client. He's going to move that ticket into what we call waiting on contact. When the client responds and says, oh yeah, I'm available today at 2, that'd be great. We then move the ticket to scheduled, and we add the resource and add it to the technician's calendar. For our urgent tickets, a little bit similar. We have the priority for urgent. We're going to move it to the top of the board. So understand that within TopLeft, you can rank them automatically by setting up your rankings. We have chosen to do it manually. Mostly it's because we want to sort of be in control of what the work that we're doing and what we want to how we want to prioritize. And so today we do that process manually. Part of our process with regards to getting that urgent chat or getting that urgent is that we're also going to put it into what we call our urgent Teams chat. We do this because we want to just make sure that we are getting all eyes on it. I don't want to rely just on the team seeing the message or seeing it in the top left board, seeing it in ConnectWise. We want to take it a step farther, and we want to go ahead and put it in our Teams chat. What's nice about doing this is that as we are nearing our SLA, so if we're getting close to that 20-minute mark, in the Teams chat, our dispatcher will notate, hey, anybody do this? Anybody available? We start nudging people to take up that ticket. All right, things I'm paying attention to within the queue. I am looking at the length of time at ready to work, paying attention to the last note, when it was last added, when is the SLA due? I'm looking for bottlenecks, and I'm reviewing swim lanes. So we're going to do a little demonstration. So one moment, please. Little take a coffee break here for just a quick second while I stop and reshare my screen. Okay. So what I have here is our XYZ company, and we have multiple tickets that I opened here in this morning. Okay, so remember when I talked about the backlog, this is a new ticket, and things that I'm going to be paying attention to when I would first go in as a manager, I am looking at last note added 2 years ago, or I'm looking at ready to work for 3 hours, contact responded for 1 hour. I start looking at these things and I am noticing, where do we need resources? Do I need to get more resources? Do I need to pull somebody from a project to have them start helping out at service desk if we are running with too many tickets? When I see that we have an SLA due in 9 minutes, we're going to be prompting the team like, okay, is there somebody available that can take this ticket? You'll notice that we have the different colors. This green, this represents that it's waiting on contact, and the light blue is waiting on other. The other colors that we have here is our priority 2. So this is an urgent. So we have this in our deep red. And then if it's contact responded, it shows up as purple. Otherwise, all of our cards are going to be white. So to do a little demonstration here, you can take a ticket and you're able to drag it to another spot. Can move it anywhere within the area you want. I can move it down to in progress, and I can say, yep, please assign it to the person. There are multiple ways you can open up a card. You can hover to open up the card. You can click on edit to open up. You can also go up to your help menu, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't use shortcuts. I am a mouse person, so I apologize. But if you want to know the shortcuts, you can actually go to the keyboard shortcuts, and here it will show you what you can use in order to open up the card. The other thing that we do with our team is that we have what's called right to left. That goes against the grain of salt. I know we're all about top left and we're moving everything from left to right. We wanted to be able to identify why it is that we have tickets that move from right to left. So we set up a workflow within ConnectWise, and when a status is in progress and then it is changed to blocked or scheduled, it will send me a notification letting me know that ticket 12345 was moved from in progress to blocked. I then can look to see why it was that the technician moved it. I use that as a coaching opportunity. If they're saying things like, okay, let me know if it works, if you need anything else, then I can talk to the technician and say, okay, these are the kind of tickets that we can go ahead and we can move to closed. We don't need to actually move that back to blocked and let them reply back. Or maybe they are moving it from in progress back to blocked because there's more work that they need to do at a later point, or they need to check in with the point of contact or the employee in 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Wim, are there any questions? I feel like I'm kind of going a little too fast here.
I don't have any questions in the chat. People are welcome to put that unless we missed the permissions, but no, you should be able to submit questions to us.
Okay, well, when I look at this particular swim lane gives me heart palpitations because there is so much red. We've got last note added an hour ago. We've got SLA 2 months ago. Contact responded a week ago. When I see this type of information, I'm talking with my team. I'm asking my team, hey, why is this contact responded a week ago? Like, come on, these are kind of things that we need to make sure that we're doing within the day. Ideally, within the first 2 or 3 hours that it comes in, we should be responding to anything that says contact responded. All right, well, don't be this guy. This particular screen here, holy smokes, there's a lot going on. And we've got things that are new for 2 years, ready to work for 2 years, waiting on other for 5 months. This is, quite honestly, this is probably what we looked like before we went to TopLeft.
I was going to say that's pretty normal from the companies I talk to. This is their starting point, right? Because it never gets looked at. There's no way to visualize this big list of tickets, so it just sits there and deteriorates and rots in their backlog.
Yes. And then this particular swim lane, looking good. This is one of my technicians. Yes, he has something here that was due 1 week and 4 days ago. He's got that's in his blocked. In his scheduled, he's got a note that was added a week ago and 2 weeks ago. But ideally, he's got 1 active ticket. One thing about my team is that our work in progress, we're working on 2 tickets at a time. That's all they can work on. I mean, truthfully, you can only work on 1 ticket at any particular moment, but we do allow for them to have at least 2 tickets in their active column. Otherwise, they need to have things sort of waiting over and they're ready to work. Questions?
Yeah, I've got a bunch, but Jenny asked a great question: Is your ringmaster technical?
Oh, great question. Actually, we started doing something a few years ago. We do hire our ringmaster, our dispatcher is a technical person. It's usually somebody who has a desire to get into IT or wants to be a technician. And so we hire them sometimes right out of college. It's their first job and they work as our dispatcher for about a year to maybe 18 months. It really depends on the person. And once we feel that they have the technical chops to go ahead and start doing tickets, they'll start doing tickets as the dispatcher, just the super simple tickets. And then once we feel like they're ready, we go ahead and rehire a new dispatcher and we transition them over to becoming a technician.
Yeah, and in my MSP, our service coordinator, Chelsea, she's not technical at all, right? And that's working well. Team loves her, and she's able to pick up some of the simple tickets as well. But yeah, no training on anything technical. Not her hobby, not her passion. She does helping people, and she sees patterns and can do some basic things.
Yeah, we found that if when we have a technician that starts and brand new technician, they start and they have to learn ConnectWise and they have to learn TopLeft and they have to learn all of the other tools that we're using as a company, there's a lot of ramp up that they need to do in order to get there. So we found that if we hire somebody that is a dispatcher, they're learning all about ConnectWise and TopLeft and the other tools that we use while they're a dispatcher, so that when they become a technician, they can hit the ground running.
Yep. Okay, Norris is asking a question. Do you enter the data, change the status, etc., by typing into the boxes? I think he's referring to editing a ticket.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You know what? I apologize. I did not share that, did I?
I can. You want to share that, or should I share that from my demo environment?
I can probably do it from mine.
Yeah,
From
from
my,
your test board. Yeah, sure.
yes. So when you are in the ticket, you can edit the ticket. And you are able to get over here to time and notes. And for example, if there was something that you were doing, right, you are able to just go ahead and enter in the notes section. You can also let that's going. You can change the status. You're able to do your time entries. You can enter a note. You can enter your time. You also have the ability to go ahead and do an upload. You can change the priority. I mean, honestly, you can do really anything within the top left card, the ticket, as you can within ConnectWise, or if you're working in AutoText, you can do the same AutoTask as well.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Pop them in the chat or the Q&A. But I'll ask, because I want to share you shared with me how you're running the huddles, and in a unique way. Every day has their own theme. So I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah, thank you. So we meet Monday through Friday from 8:45 to 9. Each day is kind of a little different. Mondays and Wednesdays, we are using that time to talk about any type of challenges that we're having at service desk. We use that opportunity to go over the top left boards, looking at actual swim lanes, if any conversations need to be had because a technician is having a ticket that is sitting with contact responded or no movement on it, we'll have that conversation. We do that on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Tuesdays, we do things just a little bit differently. Tuesday meetings are led by a technician. It rotates, and it's just an opportunity for us to just kind of a check-in. First thing we do is we ask everybody, the person who's leading it asks everybody on the team, what's something good? In my opinion, we deal with so much reactive, unhappy clients because something's not working. And so it's just an opportunity for us to come up with something good. So the team is sharing about something good that happened to them over the weekend, something good that happened to them this morning. And worst case scenario, they say, I'm having a great cup of coffee. So that's okay. If that's their good for the week, I'm just happy that they have a good. And so they share their good, and then it's talking about what are you doing today? What's on your plate? And then it's an opportunity to talk about if you are stuck on anything. Well, I'm stuck on this particular situation or this particular ticket. Anybody have any ideas? And so it opens up the forum for everybody to talk about how to help that person who is maybe stuck on a particular resolution for a ticket. And then we end that call with some sort of a positive quote. On Thursdays, it is a water cooler moment. We call it the Patrick Show, and it's because Patrick, who is on our team, he likes to have lots of different types of conversations. And so he is very energetic. And so he likes to lead the Thursday with talking about kind of anything. Sometimes we talk about a TV series that we're watching. So my entire team, we watched The Last of Us together. Every week we watched it. And then on Thursdays, we had an opportunity to just talk about it. Right now, we're currently doing fantasy football. We get to sort of talk trash against, it's friendly, of course, to see who's going to win. I'm in 5th place. A little disappointed that I lost last week and the week before, but I'm redeemed myself by winning this week. So that's our Thursday. And then Friday is also led by technicians, also a rotating calendar. And it is an opportunity for the technicians to train their other technicians. And so ideally, it's something that I learned this week or something I've learned in the last couple of weeks. And the technician writes up the documentation, and then they share it and they train the team on this particular item that they learned. Once they have trained the team and it's completely documented, then they put it into, we use IT Glue, and so they add it into IT Glue. This is really has allowed for my team to not only train everybody else, but it also gives them that presentation, right? They're like presenting themselves. And so they're not quite as nervous now as they were a year ago when we first started doing it. I've had some of my newer guys say to me, well, I don't really want to do this training because everybody else already knows how to do it. And I said, you don't know that. You are assuming everybody knows everything about everything. So don't think that way. Type it up and present it to the team. And so now everybody on the team has done some sort of training, and we just continue to rotate it.
Yeah, I love that you're creating a real team, people connected and helping and supporting and encouraging each other. And
Yeah.
I think it's just heads off. It prevents so many emotional, relational clashes that can happen.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I will tell you, it's nice too when we're doing the huddles because we do have challenges. And sometimes we have challenges with our scheduled tickets or whatever it may be. And I say, okay, let's talk about it as a team. And I'm empowering the team to bring their obstacles or their challenges to the team so that we can talk about it and talk through how to best overcome and be better. If we're having a challenge with a client, it's that opportunity to say, okay, we dropped the ball with this particular client, and what do we need to do to be better? And so we're having these really open dialogues, and I'm really, it's important to me to empower my team to feel that, so that they know, look, number one, it's a safe environment, and no matter what we talk about, it's going to be for the betterment of the company and for the team.
Okay, question from Brent is, have you found that you use the ConnectWise Manage application itself less and less, with TopLeft being the primary way of interacting with tickets? I have engineers that simply despise using ConnectWise.
Okay, so for us, majority of my technicians all use TopLeft. We're going to be using, I use Manage just because of the different things that I'm doing, whether it's setting up new boards or, and I just mean boards within ConnectWise, but everybody on my team does use TopLeft.
Yeah, and obviously we've added a lot in there over the last year, 2 years, because we wanted to make it a first-class experience for engineers. We're not there yet. There's a couple things we're adding yet, even this fall, like configurations, for example. I don't know if you guys use those, Judi.
Okay, so we have configurations, but we really don't use them.
No.
To be honest with you, we don't effectively use them within ConnectWise.
A lot of MSPs don't, but there are some that do, and they need it because it synchronizes with your RMM and IT Glue and stuff. So that's coming over the next little bit here as well.
Yep.
Okay. Then your dispatcher, your ringmaster, what else are they doing? Are they full-time on this role? Or are they doing procurement or admin work as well?
They're full-time as the dispatcher, so they are the primary person who is answering the phone. So they answer the phone. They are, when there are new tickets coming in, they are getting them over to the proper team. There are other things that they're doing. We have a couple projects because we are on RMM. We also use Huntress, and so they are identifying offline machines, the agents that are offline. They're also contacting clients with regards to if Huntress maybe alerts us for passwords being stored on someone's computer, they're reaching out to those clients. And so they end up doing a lot of interactions with the clients. I guess the best way to say it is, if it's not billable work, chances are my dispatch is working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, protecting the rest of the resources.
Mhm.
To be clear, in the scheduling, is there scheduling when the client needs a committed time? But if it
Yes.
doesn't need a commit as a client, then it just gets prioritized and they're ready to work. Is that right?
Actually, yes and no. So what we'll do is when the ticket comes in, we will reply back to that ticket and we will let the client know that we've received their ticket, and we will ask them, are you available today at 10 or 2? Or we might even ask them, what is your availability like for today? We found that before, when we first got into TopLeft, the tickets were moving and then they were moving right back to waiting because we were playing telephone tag with the client. And so we started asking the question of, when are you available? Or are you available today at 2? And then we would go, if they say, yes, I am available at 2, then we would take one of our scheduled technicians and we would assign them to that particular ticket and go ahead and put it on their calendar.
Yeah. So take us over that again, ready to work. What does that mean? What's the definition of a ticket being ready to work?
A ticket that is ready to work is, it is sitting in our unassigned queue, waiting for the next technician to become available to pull that work into their queue to start working on it.
I assume it's kind of gone through that classic triage process of the right agreement and work type and
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yes, our dispatcher, when he first opens the ticket, when it's new or backlog, he is going ahead and making sure that all the information is within the ticket that is needed for the technician to pick up, and then they move it right over to ready to work.
Yeah. And Jenny asks, have you looked at any scheduling assistants like Time Zest?
Well, I do get a lot of emails from some guy. I want to say his name's Tim over at TimeZest. And no, the answer is no, I haven't looked into it. I have considered it. But that's basically all I've done. I do get emails from him, but I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, it's a real nice solution. We're not using it because we don't schedule much in our MSPs, but yeah, many are. Okay, and then how are you watching for tickets running away on time? Like somebody grabs a ticket and it should be an hour and they're spending like 5 hours. How would that show up on your board?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be honest. It's not going to show up on my board because I'm not paying attention to it. And it's not that I don't pay attention to that or I don't care. It's more from the standpoint of that my technicians know that they are not to work on a ticket for more than 20 minutes. And so our rule is they work on a ticket for 20 minutes. If after 20 minutes they are unable to resolve it, then they will ask for additional assistance from either a teammate or our escalation team. And then they can work on it for another 20 minutes. So the max amount of time that any of our technicians are working on a ticket is about 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, they are to assign it to a higher level resource to take care of it. And only in the cases of if we're deploying a computer remotely, as much as I'd love to tell you that we always go on site to deploy computers for a client, unfortunately, that's not always the case. And so we will set it up to where a technician is going to deploy that computer in the afternoon. And we already have it agreed upon that a technician is going to spend, or the 2 or 3 hours that they need to spend in order to get that computer completely deployed and set up for the client.
Okay. So coming back to the Phoenix project book, what's the big lesson in there? Somebody just is too busy to read the book or not a reader. It's like, what's the big aha that you guys got out of there that you're like, okay, we need to start this journey and learning journey and look at TopLeft and stuff. Like what was the core concept that you got out of there?
Well, first I would say if they don't want to read, they should listen to it, because I will tell you that listening to the Phoenix Project in my car, at least opened my eyes and my world up to what the Phoenix Project was about. And you know, I want to think back to 5 years ago when I was actually listening to it, and I think it was, I remember feeling this overwhelming feeling of, I knew we were getting work done, but I couldn't see it. And so, you know, I remember visually thinking about, as Patty was talking, as Patty was putting these Post-it notes up on the wall, it was making me visualize that's what we need to be doing, is putting our work. So, I didn't even know, like, honestly, Wim, I didn't even know what a Kanban board really was until I spoke with you and Matt 5 years ago. I mean, so I was kind of already just sort of visualizing what I thought Patty was trying to do. Like, Patty was putting these Post-it notes up of the work that needed to get done, and how she was trying to move things through, like the workflow of moving it through. And so for me, it was kind of more of having that understanding of work that needed to get completed, that work in progress. We just had so much work in progress at the time, and needing to push it to get resolved. There's really so much information in that book. It's hard for me to pinpoint, but I just think back to 5 years ago when I first read the book and listened to it.
Yeah. Good. Anyone else more questions for Judi or myself? Anything on TopLeft, Kanban, Agile, MSP world, service? So I guess with your project this year, has your service been reimagined? Like, is it flowing better than last year?
Yes. One of the things that we reimagined was that we moved our blocked and our scheduled, and before it was on the other side, and we moved it because in our thought process was that when a ticket comes in and we ask the question of when are you available, it immediately becomes blocked. We're not going to do any work until we hear back from the client as to when they're available to work on the ticket. If they want to move it to scheduled, or if they're going to schedule it for the future, then we can move it into the scheduled. And it is kind of keeping that concept of moving it from left to right. Only in the case of something that's brand new that we'll move it straight to ready to work if they're not going to schedule that ticket. And so these are some of the things that we reimagined. The other thing that we reimagined was that somebody said on my team, can we have different colors? And I was like, yeah, we can do all kinds of colors. Like, what are you thinking? And they're like, oh, well, you know, can we have a color for waiting on other, and a different color for waiting on contact? And can we get a color for, you know, we already had the priorities set up for colored, but we want to be able to quickly see when somebody, you know, does a contact responded. And so I had all these colors. If you had asked me 3 months ago to share my screen, you would have saw all kinds of colors. I mean, we had green, we had blue, we had purple, we had we had orange. Like, it was, quite honestly, it was a little insane. And so I actually ended up dialing it back about a month ago. I think it was actually after Tennille did hers. I was like, okay, this is like way too much color. It's got way too much going on. And so I dialed it back and basically only kept it if it was waiting on contact, waiting on other, and contact responded, would there be a color.
Nobody other questions? So I've gone through my list of questions I had prepared there. Anything else to share on your mind, Judi?
No, not that I could think of. I'm sorry that I went so fast.
It's good. No, it's good. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Not doing a pitch at the end of this, but if you got questions, or if you're not using TopLeft and you want to, you got my info, Wim at TopLeft, and we'll help you out. So again, thank you very much to Judi for all the work and presenting this and being an advocate and everything for TopLeft. Really appreciate you and Seidel. So,
All right, thank you. Have a good
all right.
afternoon.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.